while we're here. Being a bit discreet. Oh, we've got a new fuel tank. We've got the bell pushers we're missing, and Sean's just getting the ballasts.
Will you run to my car and get us a pair of wire cutters, please?
Why?
Because how do these wires come out? They just slide out or what?
Should just slide out.
They're on one end, the other I can't tell.
They all should just slide out. Right, so we're now on our way back. We didn't get any footage in Jeff Ripley's yard because, strangely, normally you turn up and he goes, go out yourself, see if you can find anything. But we turned up, we went, have you got a fuel tank for a dart? And we were led straight to one that's now in the boot in good condition. In
good fucking mint condition.
So there's a bit of on the outside, but we're just gonna rub it down, paint it, and good to go. We've got a bit of strap work to do because the straps on ours are knackered. We've got bell pushes for the two that we're missing. We've also got the light ballasts. That's from a different yard with lots of. And we went in and we went, have you got a 6BT fuel pump and some bell pushes? We weren't having any 6BTs in. There's 121 in the yard, so Ripley's must have sold it to them. But it's now in a very much worse condition than it was when it was in Ripley's yard.
I think it's got front window was already smashed. That's still smashed, obviously. There's two near side windows that are smashed. The rear window's gone. The whole back shelf's gone. Obviously we had the door rams out of it, the door pistons. We've just had two light ballasts out of it, and the engine has a nice bird's nest in there.
Yeah,
so.
we could have got the fuel pump off it, but it was more corroded than our own fuel pump, and we couldn't get the boot open on it properly. It was going to be a lot more hassle than it's worth, so we're just going to do the £100 option and have the pump transplanted into a new casing, and then hopefully we should be back going again. And we can start planning out next season so we can book our time off in advance
and get to as many events as we can, invite as many of you guys out as we can, maybe even take a trip and see the B10. We'll have to just see how everything goes. Sorry, I love how there's no traffic here now.
Yeah, when we came this was carnage. So yeah, I know this is going to be a short video, but literally we're in and out, which took us by surprise, to be fair.
Yeah, it took us an hour and 20 minutes or so to drive here. We're in Ripley's yard in and out within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We spent more in the other yard trying to find bell pushes that match the ones that I had already got a couple of months ago because I didn't get enough.
And a reversing horn that we could actually get off. But we seen one, but then we decided we'll just buy one. We don't really need one, but it's nice to have. And
then climbing through the rear smash window of 121 to get two light ballasts out.
Yeah. So we have everything we need now. Obviously this winter it's just going to be a tidy up and get everything ready. Then next winter is we're going to be saving up for. Next winter we plan on doing the major bit, which is the bit that I'm dreading.
Yeah, so
which is ripping the floor up and replacing, because some of it is rotted in places, especially in the wheelchair bay and at the back shelf bit where the rear seats are. That buckles down and you can tell they've repaired it once there. So that will be it's going to be fun. Yeah, a bit at a time, that one. And then just trying to find some lino that's going to be the same roughly to what it is. If not, we'll have to just go for a nice clean crisp.
The hardest part is going to be getting the non-slip lino.
Yeah. With
the little bits of German stuff, the glitter and stuff that's in it.
Yeah.
That's going to be the hardest part.
But if not, we can go for something that's modern, crisp and close to what it was. I mean, it's never going to be bang on again now.
We will try and save as much of the lino as we can though.
When Ian took the corner too quick and took the wheelchair pole off, that lino is well and truly stuck down. It just breaks off when you pull it up. It doesn't come up.
Don't know, I didn't have the pleasure of bringing it back with you.
No, it doesn't come up. So I doubt we'll save any of it that's there.
Well, that's me told.
So, like I say, we'll have to get something that's close to it. More than likely, for ease, rather than having the separate sections, it will just all be one, because it's probably cheaper and easier not to have to mess about with it and just do it all in one. Again, yes, it ruins the originality of it, yes, I know, but trying to find the same patterns and that of a 1998 bus that no one uses anymore is a challenge. Finding the seat fabric is a challenge. So yeah, but while we're on, is anyone got or getting rid of a cheap air sprung seat? Like one of them. Can't fit one in the car unfortunately from the scrapper, but you know they're always going to the scrappers, so we might be able to get one at some point off one. But that's just a nicety. It's not because for the air seat obviously we'd have to run the airlines, and we need to redo power steering pipes. There's a few airlines that need redoing anyway, so we can do it all at that point. The tanks probably, well, we know 2 of them at least need replacement, so at the same time we probably just do all the tanks and just fully do the air system on it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it apart from 2 of the tanks are corroded like hell, so it's only a matter of time until it works through and we start getting pinholes in them. And as one is the handbrake tank, and the handbrake takes long enough as it is to build up. The new one is the suspension tank, which has got quicker at building, to be fair. We could do without air leaks on. And I think we've got a few top plates to do and bits like that. It's all routine, mundane things, really. But as a whole, it's once this is in, it's in good nick. It'd be nice, if we're honest, in maybe a year, 2 years time, to be able to have the money just to take it to someone and go, there's the engine, rebuild it, and have everything replenished on it, and you know, or re-cut out, and so everything fits perfectly. But there's not really wrong with the engine. It goes like the clappers. I think the only issue is really the emissions. And that'll be a mixture of a few things. And again, not forgetting it's 98. Emissions was a thing back then, but they weren't really limited. It was a case of, oh look, black smoke, that'll do.
Any smoke will do back in those days.
Yeah, so exhaust needs remounting, and we need a new silencer. That's on its way out. But again, for now,
we don't need a new silencer.
We do, it's going at the bottom.
We need to open that one up, knock the inside out, just put a pipe straight through it. We'll have a straight pipe.
If anyone wants to fund the Eminox system on it, then we'll have one of them on it. With one of its type. But yeah, so we've got a lot to do. I mean, this job's, luckily, at the moment, fingers crossed, depending on how this fuel pump transplant goes, is costing a lot less than what we were expecting. I mean, we had quotes from 400 quid to £1,300 for the fuel tank, plus VAT.
I was going to say plus VAT. The £400 was including VAT, it was £320 plus that.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, ADL wanted 1,300 quid for a fuel tank.
Leyland wanted £1,037 and some pence for a fuel tank plus VAT. We've just gone and picked up a pretty much brand new one for 100 quid. So we're saving quite a bit of money here.
100 quid, I don't ever think we've used a tenner of fuel.
No.
I've not even used a quarter tank.
So it's not too bad at all at the moment. And like I say, fingers crossed this fuel transplant goes to plan. And as long as everything works, that saves us another about, I think it's 300 quid, near enough.
Yeah, for a reconditioned fuel pump, it was 450 quid.
For a brand new one, we're looking at £1,000 again. So hopefully it'll all go, because there's nothing wrong with our fuel pump. There literally is nothing wrong with it. It shifts fuel like the fucking clappers. It's just the casing couldn't take all the vibrations and...
Well, the casing was, it weren't even the vibrations, it was loose.
Yeah.
So it was knocking all over the show, and it just weakened over time and snapped a piece of the casing off.
Yeah. Which is a shame, but hopefully this will resolve the problem once and for all. I'm sure it'll be a fun video watching us try and put it all back together. I mean, I did look on one of the videos back that we posted on TikTok with nowhere they were seen to think the injector was leaking.
Yeah.
And you can see it does clearly come out the copper washer. There's nothing on the injector until it pushes it outside the copper washer.
Right.
So I reckon we can actually leave that,
The injector heads and just
leave them alone,
yeah.
and nip them up a bit more and go from there with it.
Well, we've said those copper washers, we need to get some proper ones, which we were
No,
looking at.
it's not even the ones at the bottom. There's nothing in it.
Alright.
It's the U ones from the return pipe.
Right, okay.
So I don't know if the return pipe, when you put in injector 6 bolt, I don't know whether it's blocking it or not, because it's out of 5.
Yeah.
And as soon as it revved up, it pushed fuel out. So that looks to be more the problem than actually leaking out the injectors themselves. So hopefully that might be able to resolve that problem. Then the only other thing that we've got to resolve, and that's the other nightmare that we've got, is it's got the oil sender, it's got the wire for the oil sender, but the wire doesn't go anywhere. And the question is, where is the other end of the wire? And that we don't know. It's an aftermarket wire they've put in so it could go anywhere, literally anywhere. It seemed to go towards the gearbox, but it could have just gone that way from being put out the way. Who knows? Oh, that's the other thing we've got to do, that solenoid in the gearbox.
Yeah, yeah, but we're going to do that when we drop the sump of the gearbox.
Yeah.
And then we redo the gasket, whatever else, keep it nice and clean inside, whatever else.
It should be clean inside.
Should be.
It's not 317, which was pumping water.
Well, no, because when we do that, we're going to drop that out, drop all the fluid out,
Well,
sort that solenoid out, and then put a fresh gasket on it, and that's done.
Yeah, well, that's the other advantage. Which this one doesn't have a tornado cooler. It's got a proper radiator cooler.
Yes.
I think. No, it doesn't have a tornado.
Yeah, an aftermarket tornado that you fitted.
Yeah, that was a cool radiator. That.
The lawnmower.
Yeah. Lawnmower. Yeah. And dust clouder.
Oh yeah.
How many times we had to clean grass out of that fan and wipe the engine down.
And that was just from one show.
Yeah. And then the alternator fell off.
I'm sorry that someone wanted to go back last minute and I might have given it a bit of beans.
That alternator was falling off no matter what. But that must prove that you can't kill a 6PT. No matter what you do to it, you can't kill it. It's not bad. The 6BTs are good engines, and as we discovered, a little bit more economical than what we've actually been measuring.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I'll take this time to just say before we end, we'll show you a bit of the yard, because the bus is in the middle of the yard at the moment with no brakes. But I'll take this second because it's not taking long for us actually to get back. It's doing quite well getting back.
No traffic, we've got half an hour left.
We've got the new store, which you can go to Mancbuses, then it hits you in the face. You click on the store, there's items there. We keep adding to them slowly, but designs and stuff that we want to add. And obviously we've got memberships which help us keep this bit of history alive. Doing it ourselves. We used to do it ourselves, and we pretty much we still do a lot of it. We do ourselves still.
Well, today proved a lot. Today now shows that it's very soon going to be the last one in existence that we're aware of.
Yeah.
Because 121 hasn't got long left before it's dismantled and crushed.
No, it's in that yard now for dismantle. Because the yard that we went to, that's what he does. Ripley seems to take them apart when he needs to take them apart, the yard we went to just takes them apart, so it should be the last one now. I mean, pretty much we're pretty sure probably if you put batteries on 121 and press start, it'd probably try and crank.
It probably would.
But the last one actually on the road, and we were lucky to get this one as it was. But like I say, we cruise today, we do a lot ourselves. We know this is paid out of our, well, his own pocket. I've got to get the fuel stuff next month. But you guys, your memberships and your donations, super chats when we do live streams, it all helps. Just that little bit to accelerate things and just take that little bit less out of our pocket. Because at the end of the day, we preserve, and other people preserve these vehicles and history for the public. And I know a lot of owners go, well, you can't afford it, you shouldn't be doing it. But at the end of the day, there's these museums and stuff like that, all their stuff, railway museums, a lot of that's paid for out of the museum itself, and donations, and we're only doing the same thing at the end of the day.
Just not on as big of a scale.
Yeah, yet. I mean, there's plenty of things we'd love, but
I want to.
yeah, we'd love a yard that doesn't cost us £144 every 4 weeks, but we can't have everything. But yeah, it just helps. Just that, even that little bit, it just ticks over and just helps us get by. So yeah, we were very appreciative for that. I know we don't do much to thank you guys anymore, and everything's been up in the arms since we left town and district. Essentially, everything's been all over the show. Because everything was just in one go. Sort of like we got booted out of there. We got, well, let's be honest, we didn't exactly get booted out of there, did we?
No, you took things the wrong way, in essence, and went, fuck it, we're leaving. Before we did get kicked out, because that's what you thought was going to happen.
It was a mixture, I think, of both.
Yeah. It was...
We had the hint that we were being slowly forced out, kicked out.
For certain reasons, but it turns out that...
It was a preventative measure. That's when the guy who was doing it actually spoke to us properly, but by that point, it was too late. Which is a shame. I miss being indoors.
Yeah.
I miss having all them vehicles about, but I don't miss having to shunt every weekend.
Yeah, I miss having power,
Yeah.
a place to piss, somewhere to wash my hands and whatever else. But, for the both of us, it's round the corner.
Yeah. So, that's the honest truth about that, and we could go further into that, but town and district have tried to help us recently, and they have helped us since, so, you know, we're not going to go slag them off, because they're not a bad group of people.
No, there was
a disagreement that didn't need to happen, essentially.
Getting the fuel pump off, we weren't sure on how to go about it. So Jordan contacted one of TDTT, and straight away he went, you need this, this, this and this. You need to go here, here, here and here. We did that, the fuel pump was off within an hour, if that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's certain people we can't forgive, because there's certain things that still were on our bus that went missing. And not to name any names, but you guys who follow the channel will have a very good idea of who's no longer on the channel, and the amount of rubbish that was caused by it, and to who might have them. And as far as I'm aware, there's no sign of them, which is a shame. Means we got to find some more badges, which is really annoying. But hey ho, we can find them. But yeah, since we left there, it's just been madness, because we left there, bus was running, then we had the fuel problem that we had, trying to get it back running.
Well, we left there, took it to the place that we had in Oldham.
Yes.
Then we decided to come out of there,
because it was less than ideal.
Yeah. Moved to where we are now. When we did that, we filled it with fuel, and there was a nice big hole that appeared in the...
That's because we was taking it for MOT.
Yeah, it was when we were taking it for MOT. Yeah, it was taking it for MOT and moving it. It was doing both at once, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we could legally move it.
And we realised that there's a hole in the fuel tank, which we got repaired as a simple repair, but it works very well. and then recently, and then we had the fuel pump problems where we had a bolt coming loose. And it turns out that all 3 of them were coming loose.
But we still made it to an MOT, and then Newton rang, messaged us, and it was a rush to get Newton and get it ready for them. So we've not really had a chance to just sit down and fiddle with it like we used to. Pretty much. Have we?
No, not at all.
It's all been jobs that needed doing, and then the doors started playing up. Now we've got violent doors.
But again, that come from 121. 121 has been a crucial part of it, and the fact that we found it in a scrapyard, and we got that through a tip off from one of TDTT's members.
Probably if it weren't in such bad nick and we're probably still at Town and District, we probably would have bought the entire bus and had it towed up to us and then stripped it, or put it back on the road so we had 2 of them.
Yeah.
But it just, when we spotted it in the yard, it already was past it.
Well, that's when you first saw it in the Ripley's second yard, didn't you?
Yeah.
And we saw it, I've seen it another time before that when we went to get the door rams, and then we saw it today and it's like, nah. We went to Ripley, said we've got the sister, and he went, oh, I've scrapped that one now. Went to this other yard, it was in there, and it's like, nah, it's a sorry sight to see now.
It is. It's a shame really, because although I bet you what, when they scrap it they'll have the engine out of it.
Oh yeah,
and they'll sell that engine.
For sure.
Because I bet you that engine will still run easily.
It needs us cleaning up, but yeah, it will run.
They'll probably jet wash it, won't they?
Steam it, that's what it needs.
Yeah. It'll be steamed off and then probably sold. Because that's where the value is at the end of the day, it's in the engine. A lot of them scrap buses that are in there, as long as they still run, the value is the engine.
And really nine times out of 10, it's not the engine that's the problem for why they get scrapped.
No.
It's chassis work.
Chassis, either the emissions is no longer for the place that they're in, it doesn't comply, so rather than moving them because they might not have anywhere to move them, or there might not be anywhere suitable to move them, you just get your money back. If you can't sell it, scrap it. And that's what happens. I mean, don't get us wrong, there'll be engines in there that are ruined, ones that have been overheated and what have you, and head gaskets gone for too long.
Well, there's one that I saw that the engine bay was fire damaged.
Yeah, that's the other common one.
Yeah.
But I bet the engine still works.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it was missing half of the stuff out of it. But I reckon it would still work. You still get a crank out of it at least.
Yeah. Because bus engines, they're made to go, especially the Cummins.
Not even bus engines, diesel engines. Well, because there's no spark.
That's mainly what they're invented for, weren't
they? Yeah, they're made as a workhorse. Yeah. Which is why boats use them, trains use them, trucks use them.
And if you guys think about it, boats and trains, especially boats, I think the Grand Tour said this when they did the Seaman one. How many times do you start an engine and from the minute you started it, it's flat out, and it's flat out all the way? Because that's what boat engines do, and Cummins mainly do boat engines. So they're made to be started and then revved.
And sometimes on like your cargo ships, they could be going for 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 hours in one stint. Especially when you've got them coming from like China to Europe. Yeah,
and they're going all day, all night. How long is it? What, a week?
It's something crazy, and it's non-stop.
Yeah. The diesel engine, you just couldn't get it out of a petrol, because petrols get too hot because of the spark, and you've got the deterioration and spark plugs and everything like that. That is why they say you can, if you put a little bit of petrol in a diesel engine, it doesn't matter. If you only put a little bit, if you're at the filling station, you just put 5 litre in, and it won't matter because it'll just burn it off.
You can put up to half a tank of petrol in a diesel car, and it'll run rubbish, But it'll still run.
It'll just burn it off. But you can't do that to a petrol because diesel doesn't ignite with a spark. And that's just the way it is. And diesel engines are just, they are the workhorses, just go and go and go. And the torque you can get out of diesel engines is just amazing, especially when you couple them with a decent gearbox.
Yeah. But as I say, with them being workhorses, they're made to pull weight, they're made to be put under a lot of strain, which is why you can take a bus on a motorway and it's fine. You can take a wagon on a motorway and stick, you know, you can sit it on the limit.
What bus did you last take on a motorway that was fine? Every bus I take on the motorway, apart from our own, breaks down.
114 on the back of the recovery truck.
Yeah, the only thing that actually lets the diesel engine down in buses is the way the radiators are.
Yeah.
They put the radiators at the back and they just don't get the airflow. If the wind is not in your favour, they struggle to get air through that radiator. And that is as simple as it gets. And that's, people go, they're always overheating. Well, they will. This is the other thing, the fans on them, they're going pretty much from the minute they switch on. It might only be, what, 10 minutes in the morning if it's been sat there overnight, where the fan will not be spinning. But as soon as that thermostat opens, that fan is spinning. And the engines are under strain straight away because your compressor kicks in. So you've got the added of your compressor pumping air.
You've got the oil to cool, the coolant to cool, the hydraulic oil to cool, you've got your compressor to cool. So straight away they're under a massive strain. Every component of the buses.
That is why that's the hard shoulder. That way.
Yeah, and I was looking at a nice empty unit that was there that would be perfect for storing about 20-30 buses.
That's why when you like see, especially like these new modern MMCs, and you hear them at the side of the road sounding like they're trying to take off, a lot of the times because they've either not reconnected the fans, so when they don't have a thermostat, the fans just come on full time. So especially with the old ones, if they have a problem with a certain vehicle overheating, they'll just switch the fans on all the time. So they're just doing full revs all the time. Ours is the same. Our fan has no thermostat, so the minute you switch it on, the pump's pumping at full pump rate.
It's not full pump. It's not full pump until the revs increase. Ours increases via the revs.
Yeah.
But straight as soon as you turn it on, hydraulic fluid is flowing and it's spinning. It's, you know, it looks to be ending it even when it's idle.
No, it's got a little relay which opens the solenoid valve for the fluid. So the idea is if the thermostat is shut, then the relay is shut, so the fan won't spin because it's not getting any fluid through it. But because they've shorted it out, the relay is always open, so the solenoid's always open, so there's always fluid flowing through. Now what we want to do at a later date is put that solenoid back into action, mainly because preservation, we'll do a lot of shunting around and stuff like that, and the engine will never actually get a chance to get warm, especially being a Cummins. It will never really get warm, and you need engines to do temperature cycles, otherwise things break. So by letting it get warm before a thermostat kicks in and starts the fan running, then it gives that temperature cycle to happen. I mean, it has done a few temperature cycles when it had no water in it coming back, and when it had no hydraulic fluid in it. But the minor details. But for that as well, we'd need to put the temperature gauge back in it. And now the wires are there.
We think.
Well, they will be. They'll be shorted out somewhere in the back. But what wires belong to it is a good story. But yeah, so we've got a lot to do. Anyway, we'll see you at the yard. So quickly while he's just sorting his car out, new tank is now there in the door. We can fit that another day. Yeah, much better condition. But as you can see, we are literally in the middle of the yard. We used to live over there, but we're in the middle of the yard, and there is no brakes. So the bus did move, but I've re-wedged the block under there, and there's one there stopping it moving. So these are doing the reddening because this trail is in the way. But you know, they can move this whenever they want. I did it the other day, so yeah. But hopefully if we're quick about it, we might be able to put the fuel tank on here, on this ground.
On a dry day, yes.
Yeah, on a dry day. So, but anyway, thank you for watching, thank you for staying tuned. We're now going home.